advantage of the higher income.
The higher
right?
income, right.
And so what we are doing...
So we're not talking about just getting crumbs now. We're talking about really being a mover and shaker and empowering our people to be a seat at the table.
Right. So
because they've been so far removed from the table.
That is correct.
How do we bring them at the table?
That is correct. And so the point you made with the homecoming, again, so what we are doing more than ever now is creating events to bring some kind of opportunity for persons to make ends meet.
Yes.
And so you would have seen the homecoming.
Yeah.
You would have seen by JS Event Management. There's a concert coming up on October 13th.
Okay.
I'm a boatman.
Oh,
KB and Friends.
KB and Friends, right.
So you have about 13 artists coming down along with 2 Junkanoo groups, right?
Yes.
So all this is to create economic activity. Right. What I also did, because we were also known for Junkanoo and West End, right? We have started, and I personally started a West Grand Bahama Junkanoo group.
Awesome.
Right? And so
you're keeping culture alive.
Yes.
And you're building economic activities around culture.
That is correct.
Wow.
And so we have a functioning board already.
Okay.
Right? And so the whole idea is, once we form our group, you know, every time you have a Junkanoo practice, that creates
economic development in the area.
And so we want to have the practice around Sunset Village.
I see.
Right?
So it feeds into the vendors.
Yes.
They get to make money.
Yes.
Persons, the artisans, they get to make money.
That is
and most
correct.
of all is a celebration of our culture.
Junior sailing in West End.
Oh, wow.
That will be taking place in November.
Oh.
All right? And we have a commitment by the other family islands to be involved.
Wow.
To bring sailors, junior sailors. So it's going to be good. It's going to be big.
Local ownership.
Right?
Empowering the people.
Empowering the people. And what you will also see coming on as well, we form West Grand Bahama Sporting Association, right?
Wow.
That is massive. That is going to be big. So what we did, all the sporting disciplines, basketball, football, that's American football, flag football, volleyball, softball, baseball, swimming, sailing, all of them, we have already identified golf. We already identified what we call director of each discipline. And their job now is to go out, set their program, their development program, and each of the areas throughout West Grand Bahama.
Wow.
And the idea is not only you taking the kids and putting them into something positive, but also as an opportunity to get higher education.
Yes.
Right?
Because sports obviously is a door to open scholarships.
Right.
Persons can earn an education free of charge.
That is correct. And so again, we're seeking to partner with also with Buddy because you know he's from Pinedale.
Oh yeah.
Who better to have with you?
Wow.
Jonquil Jones.
Wow.
Home Pro.
Wow. So these are our sons and daughters of the soil who coming back, who made it in the WNBA and the NBA, and are coming back to give back.
Yeah. So
and
Buddy,
that's great. That is awesome.
So Buddy Hill Foundation now started his camp.
Oh wow.
In 8 Mile Rock at the gymnasium today. For
awesome.
the next two days.
Awesome.
Right?
Right.
And so he'll be here on Thursday, and then the kids again, once again, we'll see him. This is somebody from your neighborhood.
Wow.
Somebody who walk these streets.
Wow.
Right? That's encouragement, eh?
Definitely. That is encouragement. We're going to have to invite you back because it sounds like we're going to have to get an update from you.
We have a lot to
discuss. But I want to thank you so much. Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Kingsley Smith.
Yes.
It was an honor meeting with you, sitting with you, hearing the vision that you have for such a critical area in our country, and one that all eyes are on, by the way, to see exactly what will happen, and hopefully will become the template for other communities, not only here on Grand Bahama, but indeed the Bahamas. So thank you so much for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of my technical team, I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of The Bounce Back. And I want to leave you with this nugget. How do you get something you've never had? You're going to have to be prepared to do something you've never done. And certainly Kingsley Smith has done just that. I'm Joan Davis-Rowe. Be blessed.
Welcome to What's Trending, the show keeping you in the know with all that's happening in lifestyle and entertainment. I'm your host, Stacey Campbell Marshall. Travelers aboard a Southwest Airlines flight preparing to leave Denver had to evacuate after a passenger's cell phone battery caught fire and caused an airline seat to ignite as well. The Boeing 737-700 was still parked at a gate with 108 passengers when the incident occurred at Denver International Airport. Preliminary reports showed one passenger had a minor injury during the evacuation, and the passenger whose phone caught fire is currently being treated for burns. Crew members were able to extinguish the seat fire, and the flight arrived 3 hours later in its destination in Houston. More than 80% of Americans could be overweight or obese by 2050. A recent study found that the prevalence of obese or overweight U.S. women ages 15 to 24 increased faster than men in recent years. Prevention is said to be key, and it must start with pregnancy and infant feeding practices. Also suggested are healthier school meals, more regulations on junk food, and programs that make fruit and vegetables more widely available. Creating safer and more walkable neighborhoods to encourage exercise is also being promoted. And the oldest known tablet inscribed with the 10 Commandments from the Old Testament is expected to fetch up to $2 million when it goes up for auction next month. The stone is described as a remarkable artifact from the ancient world, but it lay forgotten for hundreds of years. The auction will take place on December 18th, but the tablet will be available to view at the auctioneer's New York showroom from December 5th. On today's show, we have a lot for you. Curbing the existence of rattlesnakes in the Bahamas, and learn more about our book of the month. We're What's Trending, and we'll be back after the break.
Good to grow, keeping you in the know, keeping you in the know. God, that's good enough to eat, that is good to grow. It's good enough to eat, that is good to grow.
Bahamian fishers were treated to an evening of glitz and glamour as they were honored for their hard work this past Saturday at the inaugural Anko Award ceremony at the Bahama Resort. 8 individuals went home with cash prizes of up to $10,000. They expressed their gratitude.
You know, I mean, I was agitating for fishermen all my life, and never knew I was going to pay off like this, but I'm happy.
It's awesome knowing that I come from the family island and made it here, and to win is just an honor.
Well, I mean, first of all, it was a pleasant surprise and a shock. And it's nice to know it's appreciated.
It's a pleasure, you know. I mean, at least I know that, you know, I'm actually recognized out there and known by a lot of people in the community.
Well, I would say after being on the advisory board from 1996, you know, I think it's a nice thing to do for the fishermen.
I'm very honored, by the way, and humbled.
It feels overwhelming, and it's about time. Fishermen are honored.
Guests were treated to an exhilarating musical performance by Bahamian rake and scrape sensation D-Mac alongside the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Band, leaving the audience dancing and celebrating well into the night.
Say, don't you know that? Oh, yeah, say. I see you want test. It's good for the rat. It's good for the cat. And you know, Jarmel.
The Anko Awards aim to underscore the strength, resilience, and future promise of the Bahamas fishing industry, serving as a powerful reminder of the vital role fishers play in the nation's cultural and economic fabric. That said, these winners gave this advice to the next generation of young fishers.
So things looking bright, bright, bright for fishermen. I encourage young people to get into it.
You just keep expanding, you know, keep investing every year.
I intend to use the platform in terms of setting up endowments so that Bahamian students can be supported in all of the various fields connected to the marine environment.
I would say don't give up and you have to go in wholeheartedly. You have to love it or grow a love for it, and you have to go in wanting to do it. You can't go in just for the money. It's gotta be, you gotta have a little bit of love for it.
Keeping you in the know with Good to Grow, I'm Leah Cooper.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, last week, I think everyone was intrigued to learn about the possibility of a suspect rattlesnake being on Harbor Island. Well, the founder and CEO of Wild Bahamas Group of Companies, Scott Johnson, was one of them who went on the hunt. He joins us now live in studio to give us an update. Welcome to What's Trending, Scott.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, tell me all about this rattlesnake hunt in Harbor Island.
Okay, so I got a video on WhatsApp several days ago, and it had this snake that was crawling through some grass and some leaf debris. One of my colleagues sent it to me, and they asked, well, is this a Bahama trope, which is an endemic Bahamian snake? And I looked at it and I was like, no, that's not a trope at all. That's a rattlesnake. And from there, it blossomed into this high concern for this is something that we need to really take serious, which we should.
Yeah.
So they contacted various local government persons, and we started talking about, okay, there's a rattlesnake. It is alleged to be on Harbor Island. What exactly is it that we need to do? How do we, how do we deal with the situation? So I was giving them information as to what to do if we see it, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, why is a rattlesnake of concern? Are they not indigenous to the Bahamas?
A rattlesnake is a venomous snake. Now, in the Bahamas, we have 12 species of snakes. None of them are dangerous to humans. But a rattlesnake is native to the United States, for example. And the species in question was an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which is found in the eastern states of North America. Okay. Now, this snake grows to about 6 to 8 feet in length. And this snake is very venomous. It has hemotoxic venom, which can cause you to bleed out.
Oh, wow.
And it also produces a large amount of venom. It can produce up to 200 to 300 milligrams of venom, and in some cases up to 1,000 milligrams of venom.
Wow.
If it was to get you really good.
Ooh.
And it has a fast strike, and it can stretch if it feels threatened, and it does strike at you. It can stretch about 2/3 of its body length to get at you if it needs to defend itself.
Okay.
Now, normally, a rattlesnake will try to rattle its tail to let you know, hey, I'm here.
Right.
Don't
Step
get
off.
next to me. Exactly. Don't get close to me.
Right.
But in the event that you try to do anything, it may defend itself like that. And so, because of the danger of this animal, that prompted government officials and myself to start taking some important measures to help deal with that.
Let's clear up some of the discrepancies, because you've been doing this for a long time. You've got like 17 years.
Yes.
You've been, we're focusing on Bahamian reptiles and birds, so you have a lot of experience.
Yes.
And let's clear up some of the discrepancies with the whole Harbor Island hunt last week.
Yeah, so me and a team of professionals, I had to call in one of my friends from Florida who is an expert in venomous snakes and snakes in general. And I also, one of my colleagues from the Bahamas National Trust, they both came in and they joined me in looking for the snake and also trying to figure out what was really the story behind this and is this really true? Mm-hmm. Because the discrepancies is the video that the guy who claims to have taken and the site that he claims that the video was taken at, they didn't line up.
Okay.
So you have the video with the snake crawling through the bushes, crawling through the grass and the leaf litter. There's a lot more grass. The ground is flatter. There's a lot of leaf litter, but the leaves don't quite look like leaves that you normally see in Bahamian terrestrial ecosystems. Okay. When we compare it to the site where the guy says that he saw the snake, the area was a lot sandier, sparse vegetation, sparse leaf litter. There was leaf litter, but it was sparse. And then it was on a slope, because the area that he claims he saw the snake was on kind of like a little hill.
Okay.
And so you have sandy substrate, predominantly sandy substrate, sparse grass, leaf litter that didn't quite match the video. So putting the 2 and 2 together, it just wasn't right.
It wasn't adding up.
Right. And so then we had to ask him, well, okay, you took this video. You claimed to take this video. Okay. Can you show us the metadata of the video? Because, you know, like when you take a video on your phone, you could look at all of the information and it'll tell you the date, time, and all that stuff.
You know, it's so unfortunate that people aren't always honest, because were you all ever able to see the rattlesnake?
There was none.
Okay.
It was all a hoax.
And do we have to be careful? You know, I know people bring in snakes. They think, you know, oh, let's have this pet, or they just think that it's cute or it's funny, or like, you know, what are some of the dangers with that?
Okay, so first, just to clarify some things, you can't just up and bring a snake into the country. A lot of the snakes that we have in the country that are not native were actually introduced accidentally.
Okay.
People brought them in via, they came in via cargo or somebody on somebody's yacht or something of that nature. So you can't just up and say, I'm going to bring in a snake into the country. That goes through a process. You have to deal with like the Department of Agriculture and stuff like that. And our snakes are also protected by law. So the Bahamian boas, the Bahama tropes, and the racers and stuff like that, they're all under the Wildlife Conservation and Trade Act. So you can't import, export these animals without having proper documentation.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about, you know, we've been taught in most instances that if we come across a snake, we should kill it.
No.
But you hold a different view. Let's talk about that.
Well, like I said, our snakes are some of the coolest, most chill snakes in the world. They are not going to do anything. Even our large boas, which can grow up to 7 to 8 feet and weigh up to 13 plus pounds, they do not bother anybody. They just like to go about their business. Sometimes people might find them in their cars, in the hood of their cars, or inside their sheds or something like that. Reason being is because, one, it's a cold morning, your engine may be nice and warm, or the place where your shed may be nice and warm and sheltered. I may be trying to shed my skin. I'm trying to digest a meal or something of that nature. And you don't want to, it's not out to get you. And there's some people who say, oh, well, the snake can eat my baby. No, a snake can't. Our Bahamian boas cannot swallow any child, no matter the size.
Okay, and they're not going to wrap around and like squeeze us to death, because I think that's what I'm scared of.
Right. So our snakes are not going to go out and try and constrict you or anything. The problem is when people get to the snake and they start messing with the snake, now the snake becomes defensive. And when the snake becomes, and the same thing what happens with me and you. If somebody comes and approaches you in a way that you find to be a bit harassing, you know, you're going to respond back to them.
Absolutely.
But in our case, we would say, oh, the snake come after me, oh, the snake is the devil, or we need to go and kill it. No, no, you don't need to.
So if you happen to come across a snake, what should we do?
If you come across a Bahamian snake that's crawling inside of your yard or in your yard or in a natural space, leave the snake alone.
Okay.
It's just going about its merry way. It's not doing anything. Now, if it accidentally goes into your house or into your shed or to something like that, then you could contact somebody like myself.
Okay.
I'll be happy to help relocate it, capture it, and relocate it. Or you could contact, we have a group on Facebook called the Nassau Snake Rescue Team.
Okay.
And they can help with removing and relocating animals. Normally, when I get a snake that's in somebody's house, I carry it to the national park because it's a protected area, and snakes are welcome there.
Oh, good. All right, that's good to know. Yeah. And you say that these reptiles actually help to protect our environment?
Yes. So we have lots of rats in the country. When you're in an urban area, rats love people.
Okay.
And what rats do is rats eat your food. They can spread lots of diseases, nasty diseases. One of them is leptospirosis. A few years ago, a gentleman, he was drinking a can of soda, and he didn't realize that a rat had peed on the can.
Okay.
And he ended up suffering from leptospirosis and ended up losing both of his legs.
Woo.
This happened in country.
Okay.
So the snakes deal with the rats. They deal with pests, and rats are not native to the Bahamas at all. The only rodent that we have that's native in the Bahamas is the Bahamian hutia, which is only found in a couple keys in the Exuma Keys Land and Sea Park and the East Planet Keys in the southern Bahamas. So when you have those, and when you have rats, which are invasive animals in the country, the snakes are now helping to deal with it. The snakes and owls.
Okay.
Barn owls also are great natural forms of control.
All right. well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about reptiles, let's talk about the little lizards that we see in our house.
Yes. So those are tropical house geckos, and they are also not native. Actually, they came from Africa.
All right.
And they came in on imports. And
Should we be afraid of them? Are they going to harm us in any way?
No,
make
the
us sick?
outside of them just defecating on your windowsills and stuff like that. They would stay out at night and they would be by your window, by your outside lights, and they'd be looking for insects to eat. But outside of that, they're not necessarily a threat unless you just don't like animal excrement all over the place. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Okay.
But the situation involving this rattlesnake hoax, that also brought up an important topic, which is biosecurity.
Okay.
And the reason why this is important is because as long as there's development, people bringing in stuff into country, there's always going to be that threat that something eventually is going to come in. Right now we have cane toads all over New Providence.
Yeah, we see that, yeah.
And they are poisonous. If your dog bites it or licks it, the dog could be dead in 15 minutes.
Wow.
And if you have little children who may see the frog and stuff like that, or the toad, sorry, and they grab it and then they put their hands to their face and their mouth, there lies the problem again.
Okay.
But what we need is stricter and more enforcement and more manpower, as well as more resource, more funding, to really monitor and look at the cargo that's coming in, properly inspect them. I would personally like for all of this area, all of the cargo to have an area of quarantine where people who are knowledgeable about wildlife can properly inspect these.
It, right. And check it out.
And then check them out so that before they start coming in the country, because development's happening all over the country, and development, as we all know, we need development. Okay. The country needs development. It brings in hundreds of millions, to not billions of dollars into the Bahamian economy. But if those containers that are coming in do not have the necessary, are not properly inspected, something can always pop in someplace else.
Right. Okay, well, Scott, oh my goodness, you have given us quite an education here, and we thank you so much for your time and for coming in, and we wish you all the best. And if we ever come across something that we're not sure about, we're going to hit you up. The name of your company is Wild Bahamas.
That's it.
And we can find you on social media.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
you
Scott.
so much.
And we will be back after the break.
All right.
What is it that you want to do? And we want to have a good time. We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Chapter One Bookstore at University of the Bahamas believes in the power of words. They have your next great adventure or that affordable textbook you need. You can go anywhere with a good book. To the library, to have coffee in a cafe, to the pool, to a cozy chair at home. And when you finish your book, you can browse for more good books from Chapter One. Chapter One Bookstore, open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., or shop online all day, every day at chapteronebooks.store.
Today is a day just for all the men. It's International Men's Day. This year's theme is Men's Health Champions. Today, November 19th, the emphasis is improving men's health and well-being and promoting, of course, healthy lifestyles. We're encouraged today to celebrate the positive male role models in our lives and be supportive to those communities so they can thrive. Global awareness is focused on issues that men face, such as parental alienation, abuse, homelessness, suicide, and violence. The day was introduced by Dr. Jerome Tilak Singh in Trinidad and Tobago back in 1999 with a view to spotlight the achievements of men and address issues impacting their lives. 6 key areas that we should highlight today is to promote positive male role models, to celebrate men's positive contributions to society, community, family, marriage, childcare, and to the environment, to focus on men's health and well-being that is social, emotional, physical, and spiritual, to highlight discrimination against men in areas of social services, social attitudes and expectations, and law, to improve gender relations and promote gender equality, to create a safer, better world where people can be safe and grow to reach their full potential.
You're going to get more to be thankful for from BTC this November. They're teaming up with What's Trending to give away a $200 Visa gift card and a Bahamas Air voucher. Just email the latest paid receipt from either your BTC postpaid or fiber internet account to saleshq@znsbahamas.com, and you will be entered to be one of the lucky 2 winners whose names will be announced on What's Trending on November 28th, Thanksgiving Day. More to be thankful for from BTC, only on What's Trending.
Termites and need to get rid of them fast, trust Rentokil Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rentokil Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rentokil Initial.
Hello, fellow book lovers. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time for another roundup of our book club's latest pick, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Yellowface dives into the story of a struggling writer who makes a desperate choice. After a fellow author's sudden death, June takes the opportunity to pass off that unpublished manuscript as her own. Listen, this book takes so many twists and turns, and I don't want to spoil some of the amazing shockers, but let me say this. You can't help but feel a bit of empathy for her, June, because haven't we all been in a spot where we just need a break, like in life, like for real? But as she gets deeper into the lie, the weight of living a false life starts to take a toll. It's a wild ride, honey, watching her try to navigate the consequences of her actions. It's a sharp reminder that quick fixes often lead to complicated problems. Book lovers, I told y'all last week that this book is one you shouldn't miss. It's a great book club selection for all those clubs around the Bahamas. The follow-up discussions will be heated. Trust me on that. If you don't have the book yet, head over to Chapter 1 Bookstore today. Remember to let me know you're reading along by emailing me at znswhatstrending@gmail.com.
Chapter One Bookstore at University of the Bahamas believes in the power of words. They have your next great adventure or that affordable textbook you need. You can go anywhere with a good book. To the library, to have coffee in a cafe, to the pool.